Good evening and welcome back to Sports Talk ATL. I am Chase Earl, joined by Alex Lord. Happy conference championship weekend. We started off tonight with your Oregon. I'm going to call them your Oregon Ducks, Alex. But we're going to also we're going to give our predictions for the Jets and the Falcons later in the show. We're going to talk about Aaron Rodgers, his window opening. We're going to do some baseball stuff, and that's actually what we're going to start the show with because I got a question on YouTube and to talk about this specific topic. And this is just a reminder that whether you're watching on Fox, whether you're watching on our YouTube channel, if you reach out to me on social media at Sports Talk ATL, comment on anything and you ask about a topic to be discussed, I will discuss it. And this is just proving that. And it's about the depth of this Atlanta Braves bullpen. You wanted me to talk about it. I'm going to talk about it. Listen, I think Alex and I discussed how much we wanted the Braves to really, go out, overkill the bullpen. And I think that's what we've seen. We re-signed Joe Jimenez. We re-signed Pierce Johnson. We signed Ronaldo Lopez, which I stated was a huge thing because I think they needed to go out there and get velocity. And Ronaldo Lopez can throw it as hard as anybody in baseball. We saw him touch 101 against the Braves. He sat, I think, 98.6 or something with his fastball. So getting that velocity in there, I know they said they're going to probably try him out as a starter. I still think the Braves get a starter. So I think most part he's maybe they use him as a multi-inning reliever. I don't know. I still consider him a bullpen piece. And then you got, some wild cards like Aaron Bummer, who had good peripherals, Jackson Coar, who also throws at 97 miles per hour. Maybe he makes an impact. And then even most recently, they signed Penn Murphy and Jackson Steven to non-guaranteed contracts. I mean, listen, they already have 10, 11 guys that could start on 90% of bullpens. And I think this is going to be – it was already one of the best bullpen in the leagues last year, despite contrary to popular belief. But this year, I think it could be the best.
Yeah, it's already better. Today, it's already better than it was last year. And a lot of that has to do with the Ronaldo Lopez signing. I know everybody's hopeful that he could potentially stretch out into a starter. But the worst case scenario is that he's a high-end reliever, a versatile weapon in the postseason that can go multiple innings. Let's say we run into another situation where Bryce Elder's getting beat up early in the game, which – Brian Snicker, we don't need to bring up sore subjects, but he should have been pulled. A guy like Ronaldo Lopez is the perfect person to throw in that case and hopefully give you 2-3 innings, maybe 4, who knows. So today, as currently constructed, it's already better than it was last year. And we mentioned, we didn't even mention the fact that, Dylan Lee, Tyler Matzik, they're returning from injury. And again, earlier before the Ronaldo Lopez sign and even before the Aaron Bummer acquisition, I was just thinking, we shouldn't just count on Tyler Matzik and Dylan Lee returning to form. Now, if they do, great. I mean, those are 2 more studs in a bullpen that gives you now at that point, you're 7-8 guys deep, elite guys that are deep. So I think, Alex Anthopoulos has done the right thing. He's got 5 guys right now that are 4 guys that are high-end relievers. We all think Aaron Bummers is bound for positive regression. I wouldn't put anything past Tyler Matzik to return, close to form. Because, in terms of the intestinal fortitude that kind of guy has, he got over a lot in his career. I wouldn't expect anything different this time. And a lot of times elbow injuries in particular are overcomable. Overcomable might not be a word, but the point is that this bullpen is as deep as any in the league today. And that's not to say that there isn't future moves out there that could come down the pike.
Yeah, I mean, the reality with Matzik and Lee is if they give us anything next year, it's like icing on the cake. Like, I think the Braves will have one of the best bullpens in baseball without them. If somehow Tyler Matzik is able to come back and be anything close to what he was, now you're looking at a weapon that Brian Snicker will be having a field day with. And that's going to be huge in keeping these guys healthy, not overusing them. We saw some of these arms fall down at the end of the season, as in Dylan Lee. And that's another guy. I mean, Dylan Lee, one of the more underappreciated pieces to this Braves team over the last few seasons. I mean, he's been, when healthy, unbelievable. But listen, those are 2 guys still that came back. I know Matzik had the elbow injury, but in reality, he was dealing with shoulder problems before that, and we saw his velocity drop. So hopefully those 18 months off or whatever really gave him enough time for not only the elbow, but the shoulder to get right. And hopefully he can look and come back throwing at 97, 98 like we saw in his prime. But if either of those guys give you anything, and listen, this Jackson Coar guy, former first-round pick, absolutely horrendous numbers, not only in the major league level, the AAA level as well. But I mean, the guy throws 97, and listen, it's a lottery ticket on a guy's arm who was a former first-round pick and can throw 97. Listen, the Royals have not developed any pitching. They've never been anywhere in the same stratosphere in terms of developing pitching and stuff like that. So, you give up a guy in Kyle Wright, who I think all of Braves country loved, but he wasn't going to be able to pitch in 2024, and he may never be the same guy. Koar is at least a healthy arm. He's a ball of clay, and like I like to say, he's a ball of clay that can throw at 100 miles per hour. That's better than nothing. So you never know what he can develop into. Jackson Steven obviously has proven to be a reliable guy. And Penn Murphy, he's coming from Tommy John surgery. He won't be back till later in the year. But this is a guy who is an absolute stud for the Mariners. I mean, 2.99 ERA in 2022, had a 1.29 ERA last year before going under the knife and having this surgery. So if he can somehow come back, I mean, there's so many options here now that when we said overkill, they went out and overkilled, and they might not be done. I wouldn't be surprised. Hey, Jesse Chavez, anybody? Would you be shocked? So there's so many options here. Alex Anthopoulos has done a good job. Go out, get your frontline guy, and this pitching staff is as loaded as you can possibly make it.
Yeah, I think you saw Anthopoulos not go away from his roots, because there are flyer guys who have, low risk, high upside, which has become a staple of Anthopoulos' career. He just finds diamond in the rough. But he also solidified it with a signing like Ronaldo Lopez, where it's a guaranteed guy. You know what you're going to get. So he did a little bit of both, where he hasn't gone away from the, diamonds in the rough. Who could potentially be that next Tyler Matzek-esque kind of guy. I just love the fact that, Anthopoulos saw his mistakes. It wasn't his mistake, but he corrected, past transgressions in terms of overkill the bullpen. We've been talking it ad nauseum about it. And whoever asked this question clearly wants us to just boast on the Braves bullpen, because everybody in Braves country knows, or at least they should know. If they didn't know, they now know that this is an absolutely loaded group. We've got guys that we know what we have, and we've got a few flyers who could potentially be diamonds in the rough. It's the best of both worlds.
Yeah, and I couldn't be more excited about the Ronaldo Lopez signing. I know we talked about him by his own, but I really think one thing that I said last year about this Braves bullpen that was really missing going into the postseason, a guy could just throw it 100 miles per hour. Because listen, for one inning, if you could throw it 100 miles per hour, just that change of speed and that high power, they might not even have a chance to hit it. So I couldn't be more excited. But we're going to switch gears here. We're going to go from the bullpen to that potential frontline starter the Braves are looking for. We've talked a lot about Dylan Cease. Now I'm going to give you some trade hypotheticals for the White Sox ace.